What is going on, guys and gals? Thank you again for tuning into the channel today for another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be talking about my top choices for the Season 4 Warzone meta for primary weapons only. I'm going to do a separate video for SMGs. Um, Also, a side note, I apologize for not uploading any videos in a while. I've been having some family stuff going on to where I haven't had as much time. I've been getting my TikToks and shorts and reels done, but I haven't had time to sit down and really make a long video. So apologies on that, but I did want to bring this video out there just as some information and give people some options on what to use in Warzone, what's good and what's not, and my opinions on all of those guns. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. First and foremost, we're going to go with the number one choice for the meta right now, and that is going to be the NZ41. Once they fixed the recoil pattern on this gun back in Season 3, it became an absolute laser beam. The original loadout, you would have the burst barrel attached, but all the rest of the attachments were almost the same as they are currently. This is the loadout that I am currently using here in Season 4, which they did this past week do a small balancing update, and it did adjust some of the items on it. This recoil pattern right here didn't even barely change. It almost made it better whenever they adjusted the recoil on it. They said they reduced recoil control on a couple of attachments, and it felt like it even got a little bit better. It doesn't feel like it hits as hard, though. That's the only downside, but they barely touch the damage profile. But this thing is still 100% the meta. It is very easy to use, and it hits really, really hard. Next, we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorites that it's been good for quite a while. It just kind of has been outshined by the top meta guns, aka the NZ and the STG before the NZ became the meta. The Cooper Carbine has always been super duper good. It was very strong before the STG became the meta, and it has always been relatively easy to control. With a fast fire rate and pretty high damage output, the TTK is usually pretty quick with this thing as long as you hit your shots. Having said that, this is the setup that I'm running. The MX Silencer 22-inch Cooper Custom, SVT 3 to 6 times scope, but the scope is usually pretty much personal preference. If you like using the 2.5 scope or whatever else, then go with what you like. The scope is not really important for the build exactly. We're going to be using the M1941 hand stop, 60 round mag, lengthened. I like the hatch grip. I tested hatched and polymer. Those are the two that you use for recoil control the most, and I liked hatched just a little bit better, but try polymer out and see how you like it. We're going to be running tight grip and fully loaded, and then the Cooper 45W stock. And as you can see in the recoil plot here, this thing really doesn't have that much recoil, and that is a full magazine, a full clip drum sprayed onto the wall right there, and you can see it doesn't really have that much recoil. Next, we're going to be talking about the AS44. The AS44 has been being talked about. I've seen on TikTok and on YouTube recently by some other content creators that it is very slept on, and it actually has a faster TTK than the NZ41. This is the setup that I've been running. It's pretty easy to control. It just has a much faster fire rate than the NZ, which I think is mainly why it gives it the upper hand on the NZ as far as TTK goes, because it shoots a lot faster. Having said that, that faster fire rate does make it a little bit more difficult to control. At medium ranges, I found myself winning a lot of gunfights, but at longer ranges, it was definitely more difficult to keep control of. What I'm running on this one is the MX Silencer, the Kovalevskia 615 millimeter barrel, which I believe is the first barrel, the hand stop, 7.62 Gorenko 50 round mag, lengthened, polymer grip, sleight of hand, fully loaded. You can run whatever scope you want to run on this one, just like the other guns. I've been using the 3 to 6 times, and the ZAC 12B custom stock. And there's the recoil plot right there. You can see it's pretty good. It's not too intense on the recoil pattern, and it just barely goes to the right a little bit. So it's pretty easy to control, but it does have a little bit of difficulty at longer ranges. Next, we're going to come to the STG. After they nerfed the STG pretty hard in the Season 4 update, it definitely is not the top tier gun to use anymore. It is still not terrible though. As you can see in the recoil plot, the recoil on the gun got way worse after they nerfed it into the ground. However, if you can keep that recoil under control, the gun still does some decent damage. It does not do really good damage at long ranges, though. That's the only downside. This gun, in my opinion, is more is much better now as a mid-range gun. So like if you're running it on Rebirth or Fortune's Keep, I think it is okay to completely run this gun. I mean, I've picked up the ground loot one, which doesn't even have the same magazine as this one, and it still does pretty decent. It is just a little bit more difficult to control than it was whenever it was meta. This is the meta loadout from before. It's still pretty good. Like I said, try it out if you just want to change something up. Alright, next we're going to be talking about the UGM-8, which is the brand new LMG for Season 4. I like to use this gun every now and then. I picked up a ground one not too long ago, and it fried. And so I leveled the gun up, and I put through these attachments on. I figured this loadout out, and it's a pretty good laser beam. As you can see in the recoil plot here, it's a pretty manageable recoil. It doesn't have a lot of vertical recoil, and it has a very good damage range on the gun. So if you ever want to try out an LMG, I know LMGs kind of suck because they make you really slow, but if you play a little bit of a slower game and you don't push a lot of people aggressively, try this gun out because it is an absolute beam, and you have a 125 round mag on this loadout. Now, if you haven't noticed, there is another little recoil plot down in the corner of this gun. That is because there is another option on this gun, and that is going to be a burst option, which a lot of people figured this out right after the gun was out, like a week or so. Is that if you throw these attachments on right here, you get basically an absolute zero recoil burst gun. This on this burst option, the burst barrel, you can hold down your trigger whenever it's bursting. So it's basically like an automatic, but it shoots off burst, like blah, 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 but you don't have to keep tapping your trigger. When you're holding down the trigger with the 6.5 Sakura rounds, this is the recoil plot you get in this little red circle right here. It has absolutely none. The downside to using these attachments on this gun is that the range on it is not super great. The bullet velocity is not great. So whenever you're trying to shoot at people that are like 60 plus meters out, you have to lead your shots quite a bit, and it makes it a little bit difficult to shoot people at longer ranges whenever you're doing that. So you can use the burst option as a meme, but in my opinion, it's not that viable. It's just kind of fun to use. Like if you're using it on a Rebirth or Fortune's Keep, it could be something fun and different to use because it has pretty much no recoil at all. Now, last but not least, I have a few ringers from the previous Call of Duty titles. We're going to start with the Modern Warfare guns. We're going to go with the M13. This is one of my personal old favorites. This gun is an absolute laser beam. There are two loadout options that I would run on this thing before. I would run the Commando foregrip with the 3.5 VLK optic. The other attachments stay the same. You want the monolithic, the Tempest Marksman, and the 60 round mag. But then, if you want to change it up and have a shorter sight on it, I like to put the GI Mini Reflex on it, and I will put the TAC laser and run no underbarrel grip. This gun it has recoil, but it is straight vertical recoil, and it is very easy to control. So this gun is an absolute laser beam. Next, we're going to be talking about the AMAX. The AMAX, the old meta AMAX, is still very fun and very good to use. It is not good at long ranges, and if you can manage the recoil at mid ranges, it is amazing. It's still really fun to use. It still deals a lot of damage, and it's fairly easy to control. Next, we're going to be moving into the Cold War guns. The XM4, the meta loadout from Season 2 to 3. I think it got changed about midway through Season 3. I can't remember. The XM4 is still very good, but it is not good at longer ranges anymore. But if you're using it mid-range, it is still a very good and very, very fun gun to use. Then we're going to be talking about the Cold War AK. This gun again did get a nerf in recent patches, but it is still very easy and very fun to use. Then lastly, we're going to be talking about the EM2. The EM2 still is the hardest hitting gun in the game. The only downside with this gun is the recoil. It's very bouncy and it is a little hard to control. But if you can control it and hit your shots, it deals so much damage that you will melt your opponents. So that's all I got for you today. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with those loadouts and try them out and see what you like. And if you just get bored one night and you just don't want to keep using the same loadout, then try one of these out. They're still very good and very fun to use. I appreciate any comments and letting me know if you enjoyed the video. A like is always appreciated. It helps the channel grow. And I appreciate each and every one of you who have recently dropped a sub on the channel. I really do. I'm trying to build my channels on Twitch, on TikTok, and YouTube, and you guys are helping make that possible. I appreciate every single one of you. Having said that, if there is any things that you would suggest for future videos, please drop a comment and let me know, because I want to always provide more content and content that you guys want to watch. As best to my abilities. The next one that I am going to be working on is the same kind of video as this. I'm going to try to get it out this week. Is I'm going to be working on the SMGs, because those got a lot of updates on their stats as well. So that's all I got for today, though. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.